Oh, I joined the Navy in 1969. I joined the Navy because I was drafted. I went to White Sands Missile Range first in New Mexico for a special tour because I did very well in my school, logistical type of work. It's movement of ordnance, missile. We did a lot of missile testing there, so that was the main range for all the missile. It was actually an army post with a small corner of the Navy. There was about 80 of us. So the USS Nimitz, I got there in the early 70s, like 72 or 3, I believe. It was pre-commissioning, so again, it was the buildup of the ship. It was at Newport News, Virginia. To work on the Nimitz was very, very challenging because it was the first of the class and the working hours were extremely long. We used to get there around 7 in the morning and used to leave probably at 7 or 8 at night, and sometimes 6 days a week. So it was a big challenge because it was a brand new ship. In the mid 80s, I went to SEAL delivery vehicle team and was there again in a logistic role. And then I became the command master chief, which is the senior enlisted advisor to the CO. And I worked there and deployed on submarines with everyone. I was a senior enlisted guy with the SEALs there. The John Marshall I deployed on, the Silver Sides, these different submarines overseas for periods of time. And again, taking care of the needs of the guys and handling everything that they needed. Because we used to work 24 hours a day sometimes at night. At 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd do a launch. So there was things that we needed. We needed chow. We needed to be fed at 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes or whatever. Or we needed specific logistics for our missile systems for the 9-boat, different things that we would need. And I'd make sure that the guys had what they need when they needed it. So obviously, we can't talk about anything that's classified because there was classified missions that we were involved in in various parts of the world that we can't get into. They're still classified, as a matter of fact. So I left there in 1990, 91, and went to SEAL Team 6, again in that role. I was a senior on that side of the house as far as support and handling everything. Matter of fact, I stayed at SEAL Team 6 for 23 years. I was there a long time. I was there 12 years on active duty and another 11, 12 years as a civilian. But again, it was, I would take role players out and we would go, it would be opposition force. We'd go to different places so we were training with the SEALs and everything was being handled, the enlisted guys. And I was in charge oftentimes of those evolutions and making sure that they were done correctly and the guys were where they were supposed to be, when they were supposed to be, things like that. Only opportunity I had, I went to Kosovo and Yugoslavia a couple of times when I was still on active duty back in the late 90s. Went over there and supported that effort. When you go to SEAL Team 6, you're screened, interviewed, and selected. There's a battery of tests you go through. You're interviewed. Everyone's volunteer. No one's there that doesn't want to be there. And that's not the case in the rest of the Navy. A lot of guys are places they don't want to be, but they're there because they're in the military and you just can't pack up and leave, right? You got to do your job. Oftentimes people don't want to do that. Well, in the SEAL community, that's not the case. It's totally volunteer. So if you don't want to be there, you can leave, and they're happy to get rid of you if you're not going to work out. So that was probably the greatest thing for me, was to be there in an environment where AAA personalities, everybody wanted to get the job done, and they got the job done. And they have a history of doing that. And most people have heard of SEAL Team 6 because it's the premier SEAL team, if you will. Well, they're a very unique group of people, I'll tell you that. Mission is everything, okay? Failure is not an option. Those types of scenario, those types of words are used all the time. So when you're with that group, you have to have your game on because it's expected of you. You have to be where you need to be, when you need to be, always. There's no question. Mission success is everything. Failure is not an option. So these people are motivated, dedicated, and they're always on focus. So when you're around those people, that's the way you have to retain yourself and maintain yourself that way, from physical to mental to everything. It's a very, very challenging environment to be in. And I ended up staying there because they wanted me to stay. In fact, they asked me to, and I wanted to stay. So I went into I was in the operations department and was there. In fact, we were there when the war started.
Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end there. It will not end until every terrorist group of global reach has been found, stopped, and defeated.
Global war on terror broke out in October of 2001 after 9/11, September. So extremely busy time because we were gearing up for the guys to go abroad, to go overseas, to go to Afghanistan, and followed on to Iraq in 2003. So 2001, big buildup to go to Afghanistan. 2003, more buildup to go to Iraq. So it was a very, very busy time for us at SEAL Team 6. Well, I retired completely in 2013. I retired from as a civilian again, and I'll tell you why. Because Rick Kaiser, the director here, kept bothering me and bugging me and calling me and say, "Hey, come on down. I need some help. I need you to." Because he had previously left a year before me to come to the museum as a director, and we were friends and I'd known each other. We worked together at SEAL Team 6 for many years, so. And he got down here and wanted me to come down and help him and support him, which I did. So in 2013, sold out in Virginia Beach and moved down here and became the assistant director here at the Navy SEAL Museum. Another reason to come was to stay in the community. I'd been in the community since the mid-'80s. So I've been in the community for 30 or so years. There was another opportunity to serve the community. The museum first started in 1985, and it was a very small section of this current museum. It was just a rotunda area, very small. There was some old frogmen, old SEALs that were around in the area, and they decided, hey, it'd be great to start a museum here in Fort Pierce because that's where it all started. And it's expanded since then to today. And we continue to look at ways to innovate and to grow. We have a 5-year plan. We're looking to build another building, possibly expanding. It is a national museum. It was national in 2007, but we want to make it a destination, and we think we've done that. It's really a 21st century museum with the lighting, the video, the touch, everything that we've done is we're very proud of that. The most important mission of the museum? Well, it's multitudes of missions, as a matter of fact. We really have 4 pillars, if you will. The museum, of course, is very important because that's why we're here. But we also have our memorial, where we have over 300 names, unfortunately, on that memorial. And we have a respite house, the Triton House. And we have what we call the Triton House Charities Program, scholarship program is in that as well, where we give scholarships out every year to SOF, Special Operation Forces children. And then we also have a canine program where we donate full trained dogs to war-torn, oftentimes veterans that have been out in the war for many years, could be either physically or mentally handicapped in some way, either injured or traumatic brain injury or whatever, things like that. And we give them this great animal that really changes their lives. We've seen that happen to a lot of these guys. We've gotten the animal for them, the dog, and it's a wonderful thing. So we're a multifaceted museum, if you will. We're not just one thing. We're many. The support we get from the public is phenomenal, and that's a pretty easy thing. They're very supportive. They understand our mission. We try to get it out there and let them know what we're doing and why we're doing it. The museum is important because it preserves the history and heritage of that community, and which started in 1943. That the Navy Combat Demolition Unit were the first guys into Normandy, Utah Beach, and all that, and then the UDT guys came behind them. And then SEALs in 1962. So it's very important to maintain that heritage. It's one of those things that you never want to forget where you came from and how important it is. For the younger generations to come and see, what the SEALs have done, what the UDT guys have done, what the NCDU guys have done, it's very important. It's a very important thing.